Don't come crying to me when these guys eat you alive, the store owner said. I just smiled and took my seat. I walked into the card shop with my Magic the Gathering deck under my arm, and the owner immediately looked past me like he was searching for whoever I belonged to. Is your boyfriend parking the car or something? I told him I was here to sign up for the tournament. He laughed in my face. Oh, honey, this isn't really a beginner-friendly event. Maybe try a bookstore? I ignored him and said I wanted in the main bracket as I slid my entry fee across the counter. He took it while shaking his head. It's your money, I guess, but don't come crying to me when these guys eat you alive. I don't refund for hurt feelings. He handed me a name tag and pointed to a table in the corner like he was sending me to detention. I heard him mutter, "This should be interesting," to one of the regulars as I walked away. My first opponent sat down and immediately started talking to me like I was 5 years old, pointing at my cards and saying things like, "So these are called lands. They're how you pay for your spells. Do you understand how that works?" I told him I understood just fine, and he held up his hands with a mocking smile. Whoa, no need to get emotional. I'm just trying to help since you're obviously new and I don't want you to embarrass yourself. I beat him in 6 turns without saying another word. When I got up to leave, he called after me, "You had some lucky draws. Enjoy getting destroyed next round when you're not playing against someone who felt bad for you." My second opponent was already celebrating before I sat down, shouting to his friends, "This should be quick. I'm gonna grab pizza after this." He looked at my deck and said, "Cute sleeves. Did your boyfriend pick those out for you?" I told him I built this deck myself, and he snorted loud enough for the whole store to hear. "Sure you did, sweetheart. And I built a rocket in my garage. Do you even know what half these cards do?" I wiped the floor with him so fast he demanded that a judge check my cards for illegal prints. When the judge confirmed everything was legal, he slammed his hand on the table hard enough to make people jump. Whatever. This game's gone soft anyway. The final round put me across from a guy who had been watching me all night with a disgusting smirk on his face. He sat down and cracked his knuckles like he was preparing for a fight. "Look, I'll go easy on you because I'm not a monster, but you really should have stayed home." I asked if he was finished, and he leaned back in his chair with his arms crossed. I just think it's pathetic when girls try to force their way into spaces where they're not wanted. Like, you're not gonna impress anyone here. Nobody's gonna date you because you play cards, so what's even the point of you being here? I told him to shuffle up, and he grinned like I had just walked into a trap. God, I love when they think they have a chance. Then he glanced at my name tag for the first time, and I watched every drop of color drain from his face. "Wait, you're the girl from regionals," he said loud enough that the tables nearby went quiet. The store owner wandered over asking what was happening. "Dude, she took first place at the regional qualifier. She's going to the regional championship in a few weeks." The owner's jaw dropped, and he looked at me like I had just shapeshifted in front of him. I just smiled sweetly and asked my opponent if he wanted to play or if he wanted to keep staring at me. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely shuffle his cards, and he couldn't even look me in the eye anymore. I took him apart piece by piece while the entire store watched in silence, countering every move he made, destroying every strategy he attempted, and punishing every mistake he made until he had nothing left on the board and no options remaining in his hand. I played my final card to an audience that had completely forgotten how to breathe. My opponent reached across the table with a trembling hand and said, "I'm sorry, I was a complete jerk. You're incredible." The owner started stammering something about how he had no idea. I collected my prize money, tucked my deck box under my arm, and walked out the front door without giving anyone the satisfaction of a response.